I guess don't try to manipulate reality in an unnatural way that you can't sustain. Hey guys, Rex here. We got a more serious conversation going on today here from our bro Keelan. Really good question. I have 3 kiddos and I'm wondering how to keep them prepared for future without scaring the crap out of them. Several guys in my area are looking to me to train them for what they see coming. We are in a certain area, I'm not going to say, and everyone is, quote, saved and can barbecue and knows how to shoot. What is the best way to gauge their skill under a little pressure to see if they're as good as they claim? I know the military way, but I'm looking for a calm, effective way to weed out good guys. Okay, I know the second question is more difficult to answer for several reasons. Their first question is more important to me, Okay, so the first question, you have your kiddos, and how do you help them get ready for what's coming without scaring them? I don't know, man. Like, everyone has a whole different deal going on with their family dynamics, whether you have girls or boys, how old they are. Their cultural experience is a big deal, right? I know some families, like the style they raise their kids is very sheltered, and that's not a bad approach for some deals. And then there's other families that are the opposite of that. They do not shelter them at all. They just let them experience reality. Like, there's some tribes, man, to where, like, they don't hide anything. They can't afford it. It's reality, kid. It's reality. Get used to it. Like, they leave, like machetes laying around, and then, like, have to, like, live high in a tree. And if there's, like, snakes attacking them, and, like, grandma dies, or whatever, like, all this stuff happens, man. Like, they don't shelter anything. If there's a war or a village, sheltering people is not always an option in the world. So there's 2 ways of doing it. Actually, there's a whole spectrum. Like, it goes in infinity in all directions for how kids can have different contexts. If the coming context is going to be radically different than where we're at now, to where we can afford to, like, live sheltered. We'll just put it like that, right? Air conditioning, heat, everyone's happy all the time, nice time, no scary talk, no, troublous things to discuss, like no lack of food, no want of anything, right? In America, those of us that are tremendously blessed are deeply compelled to share that with our children because we see these blessings as something we should share, right? However, maybe we need to reevaluate and extract what are actually blessings. Is extreme comfort and a non-scary existence a blessing? Or is it a potential extremely, are you building up that potential energy to the point to where, like, we're climbing so high up on the branches of the tree, and we're getting on such thin branches with our crystal palace we create for our families. This crystal palace that when the wind comes, it's not going to take much to knock that branch right over, and you fall way farther down to the ground than someone who is already a foot off the ground would have fallen, right? Or sitting on the ground. If you're grounded in reality, you're already there when all these, other crystal towers collapse. So, along that vein of thought, I'm not telling you what to do, and I'm not saying anyone's bad for sharing blessings with children of comfort and riches and, keeping everything tidy and neat in terms of life. And we can't let them be around certain crudities or certain other deals because, like, we don't want to pollute their little brains. You know what I mean? I get it. There is gold in that, but I think that sometimes culture makes us, it's like there's 2 targets overlapping, like one's here and one's here. And from our point of view, this really crude, sweaty guy that we don't want our kids to be around or see, right, is like right in front of this actual bad guy over here. And from our perspective, from our angle, they're the same thing, right? But in reality, this deal ain't bad. It's just like a style. It's a superficial deal. When this is the thing that we were detecting here, you know what I mean? So the overlap, and when you're focused on this so much, you're focused on the farther one, this closer one blends in, and you don't see that they're separate issues. So a lot of times when we're trying to protect our kids from evil, and hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, we end up sheltering them from all the discomforts of the world and the realities of the way shit actually is. Did I say a naughty word? I'm sorry. Okay? With that in mind, so here's, I don't know, like you can do whatever you want, and I am 100%, I know really awesome parents on all ends of the spectrum there. Some of them are like, just like, nope, they're like, I mean, you don't see it a lot in America, but some of them are like, hey, they gotta go through the manhood deal. I mean, for the boys, right? And they gotta experience things. I'm not saying you should drag them to freaking story time with some convict or something, right? And I'm not saying you should do the right-wing version of that either. I'm just saying that, like, create a reality or bring them into the real reality which you plan to have them in. When it goes down, see if you're prepared. You're going to create your own bubble of reality wherever you're at, right? And it might be a hard life if you're fighting off monsters or fighting off the Chinese or I don't know, right? All the things that go along with that, if they're just raised in it, it's not scary and weird when all of a sudden, you know, shit happens and stuff turns off or whatever, right? Or like when, oh man, we can't go to Walmart anymore. Ah, everyone just lights themselves on fire. Ah, it's happening. We can't go to Walmart. Walmart is gone. We're all going to starve, right? That'll scare them. Or you can be like, hey man, there's this thing called Walmart that we never went to because we have our own Walmart. And, you know, it's like when we create our own reality, we can control that or, you know, and if you create your own reality in a way that's sustainable, more like on your own level, right? Like you are the input, the main input to how that reality is locally with you. Then when stuff gets tough, it's not that much different, see? And so that's, I mean, the most manly way of attacking that one is the man will create his own castle. And that castle will withstand rough times to where the people inside it won't even hardly, the stronger you build that castle, the more they don't hear the storm outside, right? If you don't have a castle and you're nomadic in the middle of a storm and that's just the way it is, well, then get them used to that. Otherwise, like I'm telling you, like, it's the shock. I'll tell you what, man, and I'm not near as experienced as some people, but like I've been around a little bit and people are way, way more capable than we think. We are too. You have to have your bubble burst and you have to go through the discomfort and you have to go through like a situation. You have to go through a situation to realize like, I did not realize I was capable of surviving this or adjusting my window to this situation and not dying. Like anyone who's ever been homeless understands that. I've been homeless before. You guys ever hear about that time? I'll tell you sometime when I have brewski hour. I've been 100% homeless, man. Like, and I wasn't begging on the streets. I wasn't doing crack or none of that stuff. I chose to because I had different priorities at that moment when I was a young man, right? And so you'll learn things that way. I'm not saying you should go be a freaking, you know, live in a Volkswagen van down by the river with your family or nothing. But if that's where you see yourself being in 10 years, just in a slow fashion, approach that. Or get a way bit nicer Volkswagen van, you know, upgrade to an RV or something, right? It's really about the shock comes and the being scared part is the unknown. Fear is the unknown. Fear is the question mark. Why are people scared of the dark? Because you don't know what the hell's in there. Why are you scared of an alien? Because you don't know what it is or what it wants. Where's it going to take you on his flying saucer? I heard it was bad news, right? But nobody knows. It's fear of the unknown. That's the scariest deal there is. So if it is known to the kids through doing, not just through conversations or scary movies, because that's not reality, but through them actually doing the walkthroughs, take them camping, turn off the power for 3 days, or do like maybe a week-long excursion camping deal in close proximity with all your bros, because like when that day happens, they'll be used to it. Why not just make it into a party? You could make it into a party. Oh, wait, we're commanded to do that. We're commanded to have close proximity, week-long training FTX with our bros while making it a party to make it a fun time. Outside camping trip. See, the Almighty has all the answers, doesn't he? Yeah. See, you're going to be camping for more than 7 days potentially. So let's just start there. Let's make it fun. That's the way the Almighty did it for us. He's like, you guys are not going to like this. A lot of people are not going to be used to this whole, 1,000-year reign deal, because like all their stuff, all their crystal palaces, all the stuff they got so used to is just going to be burned in half. When I come back, I'm going to burn it all up. Babylon's going to burn to the ground. And then they're just going to be like in the wilderness, and we're all going to get together, and it's going to be a strange environment for them. We probably better have them practice that at least once a year. Probably better do it. All right, I command you guys, on the 15th day of the 7th month, you're all going to get together in close proximity and in a temporary structure. It can't be no beautiful mansion. A temporary structure, right? Build it to these specifications. Spend 1/10 of your income on it and have a good time. Learn how to get along in close proximity with those that you probably don't want to hang out with all the time. Learn it. I mean, think of do that once a week, and then just like when the big Sukkot happens, which that's the Feast of Tabernacles in the Bible, right? That's what Thanksgiving is. That's what the pilgrims were doing. The pilgrims were doing Sukkot. And then we made a holiday out of it. And it's not the Bible, people. It's Thanksgiving. Oh, okay. And it's only 1 day long because we don't want to get carried away with this biblical stuff. Oh, okay. Right? So maybe just do that. And then take them camping, have a good time. Get them used to not having this stupid electronics on all the time. All the different stuff that used to distract them. I know how that works, man. Trust me. I know how it works. I need to work. Just watch this cartoon for 5 minutes, please. Give me rest. But the more we bring them out of that into real reality, where that reality is going to be, you can control that reality to a certain point to make it the best you can. And just teach them to, and here's the other thing too. It's not scary what's coming if you're in the palm of his hand. If you're his segula, if you're his treasure, that he describes us as his treasure, the segula, that the king, it's the treasure so precious, the king holds it in the palm of his hand and doesn't let anyone doesn't put it in the treasure box or nothing. Nope, this is mine. Everywhere he goes, he's there. If we understood that that's the way with his people, hopefully we're it. With his people, if you're one of his people, you're his segula. You're not getting out of his hand. And I heard he's pretty tough. I'm not worried about freaking Putin or that bowl cut, haircutted kid from Korea the gas pipeline. The king of the universe is holding you in the palm of his hand. Now you're not scared. Just read him the story of Noah. Pretty damn scary. Explain how scary that would be. The flood come up and just the whole world is drowning and everything's getting smashed by 1,000-foot high tidal waves and boiling, and the fissures of the deep open up and all the boiling water shoots out and the water in the heavens are crashing down. All the animals are just, explain how scary that actually was. Look at all the evidence. Look at all the bones, man. And then also point out, hey, but guess what? The king warned Noah ahead of time and told him how to survive it. Here's what you need to build to survive, and I'll be there with you. When you go through those stories, man, I'm telling you, works. I don't know why you talk about the Bible stuff. I want to talk about guns on this channel. Okay, Private Snuffy. Here's a toy gun, run off in the woods and play. You're going to last 12 seconds when shit hits the fan. You know what your bug out bag is going to be when the Chinese come if you're not in the palm of the king's hand? I'll share this one with you guys. You know what the bug out bag is for all those tough guys? I don't want to hear about the Bible. Just tell me more about the guns, Rex. All right, here's a Saw taught me that one time. He's like, yeah, that's what your buddies are going to need. Your shitty ones that are a bunch of pussies, they're going to need it for all the bitching they're going to do when the Chinese come. And when the Chinese catch them, they're going to need the other things so that, I know that's kind of crude, but it's the volume knob, okay? And slight entertainment. And a wake-up call for all those tough guys that, I could be tough without that stuff. Oh, okay. Everyone is mortal until until they're covered by true protection. So that shit, that bravado melts away when reality happens. I've seen it 8 billion times. Okay, that bravado melts away when you have a tiny amount of accountability, even at a class, and there's some big old guy with a beard standing there looking at you like, what are you doing? Tough guy, not anymore. Not right. It happens to all of us. Again, that's why serious martial arts are set up the way they are, to get you squared away before they teach you the pointy objects. That's why the army is set up the way it is. But if they get you squared away, they kill your shitty self until they can train you to be an actual soldier. That's what a good parent does too, right? They're not going to teach you certain things until they get that other characteristic squared away. So teach your kids that they are in the palm of the hand. Hey, I accidentally sort of answered your second question too, didn't I? What's the best way to gauge their skill under a little pressure to see if they're as good as they claim? Accountability and pressure, yeah. Now, not everyone's qualified to do that. So that's a question we have to ask ourselves. Most of us that want to do it, that's probably the big indicator we're not the ones qualified to do it if you want to. It's a thing that people don't want to do, right? And I can see your hesitation in the question. You got people, American males really have the problem of running around insisting they're MacGyver and Commando and frickin' Rambo all at the same time because they watched a movie. That's one of the most impenetrable fortresses of pride and ego there is the martial shit for whatever reason, man. So it is there. That gets into another question that was asked to me. I'll answer that in a separate video. Looking for a calm, effective way to weed out the good guys. See who the obnoxious guys are who continuously refer to how tough they are and weed them out. If you have to say who you is, you ain't, right? So if they're continuously referring to how damn good they are, I know, Rex, I'm from Texas, No, I know there's some guys here from Texas. Good job. That's awesome. I'm using an example, right? The quintessential obnoxious Texas guy, right? I got a cowboy hat and we shoot stuff. I'm going to get 100% every time. If Chinese guy comes, I'm just break him in half from my leg, Rex. Okay, man. It's very evident to a skilled eye, that whole attitude. It's an attitude thing. If their attitude is shitty and they continuously refer to themselves and how tough they are in that context, rather than humility, okay? Reality and humility, some guys actually are MacGyver. They don't need to really explain it to you unless they're in an environment where it's illegal for them to actually do what is needed to get your ear, right? And in today's deal, sometimes you have to give a resume, but that's the big thing, is just look for that, right? So hopefully that answers your questions, man. And I know I can't answer it in all honesty. I'll tell you what I do with my little guy. Whatever I'm doing, he's doing. If I'm shooting a gun, he's shooting it. If I'm watching some scary news report, he's real little, but it's reality. If I go into the town, he's going to the town, right next to there. And if I shelter him as much as I shelter myself, right? Because I get the stuff done that needs to get done. Like if I shoot a deer in the face or whatever, I don't like shield his eyeballs or something. If you're going to cut a chicken's head off, like, no, don't shield him, So, and like if it's a noisy time, like when he was a real small baby, some people have a whole different mindset on this. They're like, oh, be careful. The baby's like trying to sleep and stuff. Like, again, they're trying to shelter him because they know how important sleep is. But if they don't learn how to actually exist in the natural environment that is actually surrounding them, not something you create special that's like very shielded and sheltered, right? But like my little guy always made it a point to like, if I'm staying up until 2 a.m, getting stuff done, being loud with whatever, my job is noisy, rock and roll and yelling and discussion with old guys and whatever. Or if we're sitting there, like he can sleep. He learned from week 1 to sleep like a baby with the noise of the Rex house. Because the Rex house is loud sometimes. And sometimes the Rex house is extremely quiet. And he learns to get along with that too. So I guess don't try to manipulate reality in an unnatural way that you can't sustain. Don't try to manipulate reality in some kind of non-natural way that you can't sustain if you're concerned about them going through some kind of transition deal like that, okay? That's my best advice, man. I don't know. Like, you can ask other guys here. Have a polite discussion there. Respect each other in the comments. And have a good day, guys.
If you're looking for rugged precision in your long-range optics, check out Arkin Optics. They still have a deal going on the SH4 Generation 2 scopes. I use these on everything from 50s down to 22 rifles. They're excellent scopes. Very, very rugged, very precise. They have all the features. Check them out. I will leave a link below. Save $170 if you include the combo pack or use the link to support the channel.